to our June 18 special call meeting of the Board of Education. We'll get started with business and we'll go to our Pledge of Allegiance. If you all wouldn't mind rising and joining me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much and welcome again. That brings us to our roll call. I'll hand it to Ms. Stewart, please.
Okay, President Wilson.
Here.
Vice President McIntyre.
Here.
Treasurer Campbell-Voitel.
Here.
Trustee Mazurek.
Here.
Trustee Meyer.
Here.
Trustee Prescott is excused, and Secretary Stewart here.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. That brings us to the adoption of our agenda number 4 tonight. Ms. McIntyre, please, our Vice President.
Okay, I'd like to bring forth motion 123 that the agenda be adopted as presented. Support.
All right, so I have a motion properly presented by Ms. McIntyre and supported by Ms. Meyer. Any discussion on our agenda tonight?
Nope.
Looks good to me. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent. Our agenda passes, and that brings us to our consent resolutions. Again, I'll hand it over to our Vice President, please.
Okay, I'd like to bring forth motion 124 that the board accept the consent agenda items for approval as presented. This includes 5A, minutes of the June 11th, 2024 Board of Education meeting.
Support. All right, so I have a motion properly presented again by Ms. McIntyre and supported by Mr. Mazurek, I heard. The minutes looked good to me. Any discussion, anything?
No,
Anyone?
good.
No.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you on that. That brings us to our communications, number 6. Ms. Stewart,
Okay.
please.
We've received several emails at npsboe@northvilleschools.org.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That brings us to number 7, our superintendent.
Ah, yes.
Dr. Weber.
So we're heading into close here shortly, but there's one big obvious thing. I know each of you received a communication from Dr. Brock regarding our ALPS numbers and again, higher than regular as far as that with more coming in. And we also have 156-year history in our first baseball championship.
Yeah, that's right. Congratulations.
You know, it's for those of you who are baseball fans, it is a fickle game, and it is a hard sport to get to that level. Everything has to basically go right. And you've been proud of how our fans were. I went Thursday and Saturday, and just the joy. But my favorite moment, I'll put it in the Friday update, was after everything was done. One of the peer-to-peer students, their mom brought the young man to the game, and his peer-to-peer buddy, who was a high school baseball player, and it was just off to the side, like they were together, like put his state championship medal over his neck, and the kid just lit up. It was a thing of beauty,
That's really
genuinely
awesome.
a thing of beauty. So that's what I have, sir.
I saw a really cool article too that there was a player on the team, number 10, which is a good number, that his dad also won a state championship his senior year against Brother Rice.
Really?
So a shout out to the Derringers.
That makes me
That was
even
very
happier.
cool. Mhm.
And I'll say it, like I absolutely find extra joy in it when public school districts defeat non-public school districts. You know, Brother Rice has 600 kids in their entire high school. We have 2,500, and it just makes you sometimes wonder how you get that many great baseball players on a high school that's that small.
Yeah.
But our boys really, and our fans are there, and I mean, I was thinking about this class, top to bottom. You got, look at rowing, look at cross country, look at tennis. I mean, every sport, boys or girls, we were in the heat and mix of the competition. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, regionals, districts, so on, like on and on and on. So it was a special year, I think, from that vein. And then, of course, graduation, 644 kids. One of yours, right? One of yours. Largest graduating class in the history of our district. And I thought Mr. Koski is amazing. Like under 2 hours for 644 kids is pretty epic. And then the senior all-night party, which I know Megan was part of that was fantastic and had a lot of fun. The dunk tank wasn't so great. It was cold. And then it wasn't until afterwards that she said, "Did you stay in there 30 minutes? Because you only needed to stay in there 15. Thanks for saying that after.
After.
She does it after.
Yeah. You know,
I like, or I'm just going to give my elbows to these two men on either side of me who I have something to say, but I wanted to share that I ran through the community event that was going on next door at the community center. We had, our representative Dingle, and we had
Infrastructure event? Is
the
that what's going
infrastructure
on?
meeting,
Is it
and
right now?
it started at 5:30.
Okay.
So I'm sure they're doing Q&A right now. But we had all of our political representatives, but it was very well attended, and I'm working toward the baseball championship. I was talking to, as I do, people, the constituents, people that I know. The message that I'm trying to give to the school district is that the community. I had more people talk to me about that baseball championship than any kind of sport event that you would see in a large community event that is being held currently next door.
Wow.
And people were so enthusiastic, and I was the school district person, right? So at the meeting, and I had my ID on. So they all went out of their way to say how excited they were. Many of them were present at the game, and there's just pure delight out in the community. So embrace, even beyond the boundaries of our immediate families and school districts, the community is really celebrating with all of those wonderful athletes. So
That's awesome.
it's wonderful.
Plus, there was also the Cook graduation. It was pretty
That was
rousing.
fantastic.
It was pretty wild. I will again suggest every board member try to attend. It's a great thing. I'll even hand off the cowbell for next year if someone
I
wants
don't
to take
know
it
if
on.
anyone else can handle the cowbell the way that you do, Jim.
It's an event. Please try to get there.
I must admit, when I saw a person sit next to you, I'm like, you have no idea. You have no idea what's coming. And I asked Lindsay and Jim to say some words, and I was appreciative of that. But the families and the joy, just gratitude, and takes your breath away, and all that. And on the baseball aspect, our community public schools are centers of community, and truly. And that's one of the pieces that makes, I think, Northville really special, is the fact that you can go somewhere, and if they know what you all do, you're going to hear that, like, wow, great job.
Yep.
And like, do you have 2 hours? Because I want to tell you some more about what we do here. So.
I love those pictures that got posted too. I saw a couple of the kids from the fine arts department. They were there cheering on their team. And I think, to your point, just to amplify that, it is a community, community event. It's a community support opportunity.
Community identity.
Yes, and community identity. That to see all those students, and some of them were also graduates, right? That they were there, they were excited, they were having a good time cheering on their team or their classmates and their friends, and I'm sure their parents were there too, and it was awesome. I was watching it on Game Changer from my son's game. I really wanted to be in Lansing, but
I guess I want to add one more comment. Just one of the write-ins on the letters, just to prove we do actually read NPS BOE at schools, is, we've had some parents asking about the school calendar, right? And there's been calls to various board members and that, and rest assured, we all want to get that calendar out as soon as possible. There's probably a very reasonable probability that it'll line up with Rain Reef's calendar, but until we actually get through our contract negotiations, we just got to hold off. So please bear with us, hang in there, and we will get it out as soon as possible to the public. And like I said, reasonable possibility it'll line up with Rain Reef's.
All right. I also wanted to give a shout out. Jim already did to the Cook team, Ms. Bugar, Ms. Barney, Ms. Santer, for organizing a really great event. I mean, that is a special one to pull off, and I just wanted to express my sincere thanks to them. Thanks for the invitation as well. I appreciate going. All right, that brings us to our first of two public opportunities for public comment tonight. Going once, going twice, sold. That brings us to number 9 on our agenda, our bond 2023, and I will hand it over to our treasurer, Dr. Campbell Boytel.
All right. This is one more step in the direction of progress based on our 2023 bond, and I am very happy to
be able to bring this motion related to district LED lighting. So I bring motion 125 that the board authorize the administration to award a contract for 2024 district-wide LED lighting in the amount not to exceed $2,977,000 funded through Bond 2023 as presented.
Support.
All right, so I have a motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell Voitel and supported by Ms. McIntyre. Any introduction or discussion on this item? Mr. Banchero on cue. Wow. All right.
Good evening. I'll keep it brief. I know that you have another meeting to attend later after this one. So this particular bid package is for about half the district to retrofit any fluorescent lights into LED. In the previous bond, we took care of the first half of the district. In this particular one, the scope is completing the other half. The major areas of work are the high school, Ridgewood, Ammerman. Meads will come later when we do the Meads project, and the LED retrofit will be part of that project. But between this contract and then when we get to Meads and award that total renovation, they'll complete the retrofit to every interior fixture to LED. There's going to be some parking lots and some exterior wall packs, lights on the exterior building that would probably have another bid pack at the tail end of the bond. We just want to make sure we get through all the other projects first before we tackle that one. So I'm pleased to report it's under budget. We bid it out a little differently. We bid out 3 different manufacturers. So each contractor had to give us the bid from manufacturer A, manufacturer B, and manufacturer C, so we could see which manufacturer had the most competitive price combined with the labor component the contractor supplies. So I think that drove a lot of value. We also gave the contractor some flexibility in their schedule. We just want it done between contract award and end of 2025, so they could use it to fill in gaps in their schedule, which if you give them some flexibility, you usually get a break on labor. So I think that worked in our favor. And Green Line Electric has done a number of projects in our district, starting with the high school addition renovation 2019, 2021 renovation Silver Springs and Winchester. I think those were the 3 major projects they performed since I've been here. So very familiar with the work, very familiar with the lighting manufacturer that's being awarded tonight. So pleased with the results.
Yeah, I mean, this is an all-around win. We've got a contractor we've got lots of experience with, so we know them, we trust them, they prove themselves. We moved to LED lighting, which in a lot of cases is going to be a little bit better and will last a little bit longer. And in the long run, we probably will save a few dollars on kilowatts. That means we have more money for the base budget for that. So it's an all-around good thing. And being flexible and getting this in gets us a better rate. So very good job. We appreciate it. It was a great presentation at Finance Committee and good stuff.
Get a little bump from DTE in terms of rebates?
There's energy rebates, so the lighting supplier and the contractor do the preliminary applications. We sign off on it. We work with the DT reps, and there will be a check that actually comes back to the district that we put into the project, or put it in the bond to, finance other scopes of work. So,
thank you for that.
Yeah, and we're expecting pretty significant energy savings, especially at the high school. I mean, considering that building's 400,000 square feet, there's a lot of lights in that building. So looking forward to that conversion. And we'll give so all the other classrooms have the ability to dim the lights now, or all the buildings that have LED already. So that functionality, so a classroom will be able to kind of adjust their learning environment based on lighting levels. So that's a bonus with an LED project.
So Lisa, I followed you on the finance subcommittee, and part of the job is to look at those monthly checkbook checks, and just the amount of money spent on energy in this district is quite shocking, actually, without thinking about the amount of square feet that we're lighting. But still, it's an amazing amount of money that gets spent for energy costs. So
For sure.
any savings is going to be a value for sure.
Lighting, cooling.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. Any questions, discussion, anything else? All right, so, all right, yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to number 10 on our agenda. Any added agenda items, Ms. Irving? Dr. Weber, anyone else?
Nope.
All right, that brings us to our second of two opportunities for public comment tonight. Going once, going twice. Number 12 on our agenda, questions, comments from board members.
I have a couple
have
of
any?
things that I wanted to bring up and just check in on. The enhancement millage, the Wayne Reese enhancement millage, will we be discussing that at the next?
16th or 17th.
That meeting, that's the meeting we'll be taking that up? Okay. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up, I don't know if anyone saw that letter from MASB regarding the MESPERS bill in the House, and I don't have the Senate bill, but Matt Colzar introduced a bill, HB 5803. I know we don't normally talk about bills in here, but I just think because of the potential cost savings that it could have for the district, I don't know, what, if anything, people felt about it, but I
Cost
just.
savings, it's like, per pupil funding.
Yes.
It's hard cash. That
Yes,
arrives.
yes, yes.
He was actually in the area last night, speaking to that, and it came up at this meeting, actually. We just had to. So there, until the budget is settled, in the next couple of weeks, we really won't know how that shakes out. But he's fighting mightily to have that money proportional to what, the overage is, our proportion of it to be returned in per pupil funding. And I know you spoke to that, RJ.
Yep. And Karen, I just sent you an update on it,
Okay.
on the 58.
Well, I emailed them yesterday also about it. I just was interested, I was just interested to get feedback from board members regarding this, just because of the impact it could have on our budget.
That's our money.
Yes, exactly.
Give it back.
Yeah, and I know that it's been earmarked for other things.
Well,
So,
Yeah, so the sticky part right now is the governor came out early and announced something that she really wants. And this amount of money of what she really wants, oddly enough, is very similar to the amount of money in that overfund. And I hopefully, and with people calling and talking, that she's become educated in the fact, and what Kim is intimating when it's our money, and Mike, jump in if I put my foot in my mouth, but every dollar that is in that overfund, so this is overfunded by 40%. So it's 140% was put in by a public school employee. And so by putting that back in, our number would be 516, I think, per kid. Representative Colzar's piece is to put it in statute so it couldn't be taken. So, that would be a heck of a counterweight for lean economic years, which are coming. The economy is cyclical, we know it.
And also 3% of it would also go back to the teachers, so.
That's the pay-in. Mike, do you want to speak about that 3% back out?
It would save the teachers as well some cost. $516 or so for us. That would help the staff and the district. So it's just a matter of, it would reduce our. We pay right now about almost 21 cents for our unfunded liabilities, our retirees. So this would take it down to about 13 cents. So we would save about 7 cents on every dollar of wages that we pay out. So that's how we're getting it at $516. So, and the teachers would benefit as well.
So, I would be interested in hearing thoughts on, I am hesitant to reach out as a school board member individually when we haven't discussed this, as a group, but to me, I don't see a downside to this unless I'm missing something. So if I am, please let me know. But I just feel like it's so important that we are able to make sure this happens for our kids, especially as the COVID funds dry up, and for our teachers as well.
Are you asking for like some type of a resolution
I
that we
don't know if
might
we need a
put forth?
resolution, or I'm not quite sure.
So I was at the meeting last night. I was at the meeting today when Kelly Breen spoke to the same thing. Matt wasn't there next door. I stood up publicly and gave strong support and thanks for this effort.
Oh,
So, I mean, I didn't think that I was out of line, and actually everybody in the room understood completely. It was not a surprise, but I did want to say, I did make a public statement that we were very grateful for that leadership at that level. So I don't know, am I going to get a strong letter of scolding in my my HR file? I don't know. But I'm a citizen just like anybody else. So are you.
I realize that, but I would like to be able to speak about this as a board member, to be completely frank, because I feel like it carries more
I
weight.
was all about a board member.
Anything that prevents our government from diverting intended school funds to non-school areas, we should be against. I think that's a safe bet.
Right.
So
Well, I think-
making sure that this money stays within the boundaries of K through 12, yeah, I don't think is a big stretch to stay that. So
I mean, I think we know we're not going to get a change of proposal A right now, right? That would take a
Yes.
major overhaul of the Constitution to deal with that, and that's not going to happen. So
Mhm.
if we could, have that money directed to the schools where it belongs, that yes, I'm
we've
fully
already
in
seen
support
K
of that.
through 12 funding over the years has been shifted off to cover higher education, which was
Mhm.
really not the intent of it early on, right? There was, there's proposals, it happens multiple times, this is not the first, but to take some money like MIPSR's money and move it somewhere else, and the answer is you can't do that, because at the end of the day, those bills ultimately reside into our budget. And so for her to divert that is actually creating bigger problems for us because they have to be funded. And so, any kind of diversion is not a healthy thing.
And we're already a state that the state does not fund building infrastructure costs, right? That's something that we have to go out and ask our community to support through bond money. So we're already set up differently than, I think, 44 other states.
So the answer is fire that letter off.
Yeah, wear your flag and, charge the front door.
You're really advocating, like Jim said, for kids. Like, the fact of the matter is the school raid fund, that they've taken our money that should be our money for our K2
Yes.
and given it to colleges, universities, and some of you are paying tuition. You're probably wondering what are they doing with all the money they're taking from our public schools when they keep raising tuition every year and you're writing those checks. Like, at some point, in my opinion, universities need to be held accountable as you all are, as far as running a budget.
We're also in a situation where not every K-12 student goes off to college. So the children that we are supporting are,
Great point.
going to be hopefully adults in our state. And so I don't know what the percentage across the state of college students and college graduates is, but for sure, we want to have, I imagine, a very high percentage of our statewide students to graduate from high school. And we know that in Northville, we graduate 99.9% of our students. So we do very well with the money that we are awarded by the state. So definitely want to continue to see that expand and more money be awarded to us.
Yeah,
do
I
great
guess my
things for kids.
concern in this is that because the governor has her ideas of how this money should be spent, and this bill, that it just keeps continuing to be overfunded and nothing happens to it when it's money that we could be utilizing now.
Yeah.
I just wonder what, if we get all or a portion of that money, what the impact, that's why it's made. I mean, it's like throwing darts at dartboard, so forewarned before.
Sure.
But I just wonder what the impact would be in terms of some of the candidates. This year has been, we're in the business office, we're just pulling our hair out with all the grants.
Yeah.
As is the Department of Ed, frankly. And so I'm like, things like, enrollment stable $500 million, is that going to be impacted if, you know, I just don't know what is going to be impacted. Affected.
Ah,
Right, I don't know. You know, so it's going to be, bottom line, we're probably going to have a budget amendment, you know, fairly soon, probably in December.
That seems much quicker than normal.
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of years, we weren't getting the governor or our legislator was not giving us funding till, August and September. And so, kind of moving this up, we've had quite a few years in a row where it's actually happened at a reasonable time frame. This year, it's dragging on, and we also need to send love letters to our legislator to say, get off the pot and do it.
Yeah, I think they're working hard.
Because it does. It puts us in a very, very hard spot. We're like, like Mike said, I don't know, which do I think 2 out of 3 are going to pass, whatever. You're just throwing darts and hoping. And we're not getting any clarity about, and again, you got 3 legislative bodies. You got a governor, Senate, and House, and, they all think differently. And really, it's hard to tell who's going to win.
hopefully the students.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully the students, exactly. Hopefully the students.
Yeah. What's best for kids, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're focusing on.
All right, well, thank you.
All right. No, thank you. Good discussion. I appreciate raising that. Anything else? So that brings us to 13, our closed session. I'll hand it over to our Vice President, Ms. McIntyre, please.
Okay, I'd like to bring forth motion 126 that the board convene in closed session pursuant to Public Act 267 of the Open Meetings Act under Section 8C of negotiations and of 81H of the Open Meetings Act to consider the attorney-client privilege communication from counsel.
Support.
All right. So I have a motion properly presented by Ms. McIntyre and supported by Dr. Campbell Voitel. I'll note that this is an amended motion, and we will do a roll call on this. So sorry to put you on the spot, but Ms. Stewart, do you mind a roll call vote on this one?
I had a note on here.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say
Is that
that we
right?
don't
All right.
really
Yeah,
roll call
very
on
good.
this.
All right, we're all-
I am good for that. All right, President Wilson,
Yes.
Vice President McIntyre,
Yes.
Treasurer Campbell Voitel,
Yes?
Trustee Mazurek,
Yes.
Trustee Meyer,
Yes.
and Secretary Stewart, yes.
Excellent. So we will be moving to closed session for folks in the public here. You know the drill. We'll probably be coming back to formally close, but we'll not be having substantive discussion. With that, I will move us to closed session at 7:02.
Okay.
See you, Miss.